So, once again, the kitchen. This is my M&Ms. This is my process. So I've already taken this bag that I got at the store a couple days ago. I put some Lysol on a paper towel. I wipe down the bag. Now I am... I let it sit there for a couple days. Now I'm taking these out and putting them in. Well, ideally the bag would not touch that glass lid. I think that probably defeats the purpose.
May 9th. It's not actually raining today. I was looking forward to doing a long ride outside, but May, it is like 45 degrees outside, 46 degrees outside. So another day inside. I am ready to be done riding inside. Another day on the trainer. We got a break in the rain, but it's just, it's really cold. It's supposed to rain like in an hour. So once again, I'm on the trainer, and I'm not enjoying the trainer right now. I'm ready to be outside. I don't wear a heart rate monitor when I'm on the trainer. I just get the hours in. And so I feel like they're just not as good a quality hours. So even though I did more hours this week, I did less outside, so I feel like I did less hours. Nope. May 11th, another day on the trainer. Once again, this week is my biggest week in theory as far as hours. Today's the first day. I just did 4.5 hours indoors because, I mean, I could ride outside. It's just dreary and cold. And let me just say, I am so over. I'm ready to ride outside. Like, I'm really ready for that. And I got on the bike at 9:15. It's 3:15. I did 4.5 hours. So the hours just aren't good quality. I'm ready. I'm ready for spring weather. I'm ready to go outside and ride. We can do it. Like, it's not social distancing issues. It's weather. Or tomorrow, I think I'm getting out the leg warmers. Gonna have to break those out and get out there. I'm also missing seeing my people, and I think I need to have some dinner with some friends. All right, today we're gonna make broccoli and pasta. Here's the prep work.
That was the original idea with feeds too.
I understand how it started.
I'm here with Bill, and Bill is a longtime friend from Peoria and is a current teammate. He has his Feet sweatshirt on. I have my Powered by Slogrum shirt on that Bill actually made. Or did Mark make this? One of you guys made it.
I made them.
Yeah. And Bill has been generous enough to spend some time with me today, and we're going to eat dinner together and talk about bikes and life. What are you having for dinner?
Salad.
Salad.
I've been trying to cut down on meat.
You're eating less meat for health reasons?
Yeah. Yeah, so largely I just wanted to do more of a plant-based. So no part of me is going vegetarian, but I kind of want to get closer to vegetarian than I am now.
Yeah. I really don't eat a lot of meat either. I eat it when I go out, but I don't cook it a lot at home.
Yeah.
It's just, for me, it's just another pain in the ass. It's like something else I have to mess around with, you know? But,
Yeah.
Yeah. So, this week going good?
So it's Sunday. Yeah, it's all right. The weather's been relatively crappy, but was able to get out yesterday, did some landscaping and some yard work that I was in desperate need of. Nice and sore today.
Nice.
And then as I brought the last bit of tools back into the house, missed the last step in the stairs going to the basement, tweaked my knee a bit to the point I could barely sleep last. No, I could sleep, but I was constantly waking up because of the pain. So Was having a hard time walking this morning, but it seemed to be working itself out now.
That's your bad knee?
No, it was the good one.
Oh man.
I should do the good one and do the air quotes on that.
Exactly. Exactly.
How about you?
It's going okay. I mean, so I launched my
Italian stuff like last week. And I mean, never really gonna happen when you put together like 8 modules and 36 pages and 11 videos, but it's a 6, right?
Of course, in that email, there's a mistake. I mean, it's very typical me. Like, it's all good because it's very minimal, but that's what I'm doing this week is basically just like closing out the semester, just making sure everything's done. So I don't know, but like this week, like I was all excited because it's like, all right, cool. I'm supposed to have a big week on the bike, and like, my work has gone down, but the weather's been. I mean, like right now, it's like raining. Yesterday it was not raining, but it's like 46 when I was like supposed to go ride, and it's like I don't want to go ride outside in this. So I've been riding inside, which is I'm over riding inside right now. I'm so ready to be riding outside.
Well, you're doing 4 hours.
Yeah, I mean I've done several 4-hour days inside, and they're crap. It's not good quality hours. I mean I'm doing them, but it's not all that fun.
Yeah, I've ventured up to an hour and a half,
Yeah.
and I'm not to say I'm gassed at the end of it,
Yeah.
but I'm definitely getting a good sweat. A little bit of that muscle fatigue you feel after a ride.
Yeah.
So I'm doing that. So if I can work it up to 2 hours,
Yeah.
then I'll feel pretty vindicated, and I won't need to go higher than 2 hours. But 2 hours is a chore.
I think that what you just said, though, for me, the muscle fatigue, that's what I'm trying to get, right? Like I don't need to be like lactic threshold, but there is a point where it's like, all right, this is just really uncomfortable, right? It's just like a weird sort of sensation. And yeah, I don't know. See, I think an hour and a half. I mean, if somebody can do an hour and a half, then really you're fine because you could do that twice a day, right? I mean, technically you could. So like. There's no reason to do more. So even when I do 4 hours, it takes me 5 hours to do it,
Right.
because I'm off the bike so much.
Yeah, and I still have the treadmill, so I'll get on the treadmill and maybe do a mile, 2 miles on the max.
Yeah.
I will say this because you had mentioned what got me into cycling or racing.
Mm-hmm.
So I was thinking about the college and the first bike I had. Myself and my roommate kind of liberated that Schwinn. And so we just ride it around campus or ride out to the Lake Charleston or whatever the case might be. And it was maybe a 5-mile bike ride from campus to Lake. It was downstate. So 2 minutes after you left your dorm, you're out in the country. So it was my first experience really riding a bicycle outside of my neighborhood, and it was fun. Like that was the start. So I was thinking about it, it's like I started biking based off a stolen bicycle.
I like what you said. You didn't steal it. You liberated. That bike needed to be out.
He was not riding that bike.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Let's make him
Right.
fight.
So I think it was, we initially had asked, hey, can we borrow the bike? And then it got to the point where we just took the bike, and then it got to the point where we just never gave the bike back.
So it really was like, this was like how you got into it, how you got into riding at all was like in college. You were just purely out of boredom or whatever, and this dude had a bike.
Yeah, and it was also, I used it to get around campus, and then I used it to get off campus and just like out of the school setting. And I think I went home that summer and bought my first like road bike.
Yeah.
And it was just like some old, it was a new Miata, but it was like, I got a Vitesse, and it was probably like $300.
Mm-hmm.
And I got it, couldn't afford a helmet. And so riding it home down the drive, and right by the country club, I crash. And so brand new bike, maybe a mile in it, and get home, and my mom like drives me back up and makes me buy a helmet, or buys me a helmet, I should say. And then from there, it's just I would do like those organized rides.
Right.
So the MS 150 I graduated up to, and my father was riding a little bit. So I'd go out with them and maybe do 40, 50 miles or something like that, and got some biking shorts and the whole nine. And it was like, loved it. It was like another source of freedom, where you can kind of challenge yourself. You didn't have to have anybody else there to really do it with.
Yeah.
I could just go out there on my own. I didn't have to worry about, like, if I was playing tennis, having a partner, or basketball, having teammates. It was just, I feel like getting out of the house and I'm going to go for a bike ride. So that's really how it started. It just kind of blossomed from there.
How did it transition into racing?
I want to say I was out of college for a year, and I was just in Peoria, and I was working, and they had that the Proctor Classic.
Yeah.
And like, I'm gonna do the Citizens race. So I did it like in biker shorts and a t-shirt.
Yeah.
And that was my first race. I just like, I'm gonna try it. And it was fun. It was fun. I actually had a kind of good time. There's definitely a learning curve and all this other stuff. Dave Hedrick was in it, and Chris Armstrong. I think it was Armstrong. So I think it was Chris Armstrong who just started racing then. He was in a Citizens race. Hedrick was there. So I think those two took first and second. I can't remember who had first, who was second. And then I finished like sixth or something like that. And there were really like 15 people in the race anyway, so it wasn't a massive field or anything. But then, yeah, just kind of went from there. I got a license.
Do you remember what year that was?
Must have been like 90.
90, okay.
I graduated in 89. So, yeah, it's probably like 1990 or so. 90, 91.
So here's what's crazy is I'm thinking about the year. My first race ever was the Proctor Cycling Classic Citizens race. My experience was not the same as yours. I had been training for like all of, 2 or 3 weeks, really getting ready for this race, riding all the way to the end of the block and back. I mean, like maybe even doing it 2 or 3 times to get ready for this thing. Convinced I was going to win it. And like it's like the start of a crit, like was not prepared for any of that, and like finished dead last. Like my recollection is like by the time I finished one lap, like they had been around multiple times, like just kept lapping me, and I literally like never did not ride a bike again until like I was in college, and that was I was in 7th grade when that happened. So that's what I'm thinking. It was early 90s or late 80s. Let's see. So how old are you in 7th grade? I don't even know. Like 12, 13? 12.
12, I think.
12.
In what grade?
Yes. So that would have been like
12, 13.
89 probably. 89. But
Yes, that might have been like the year before I did my first license.
Yeah, but then you stuck with it. I did not.
Yeah, I did. So shortly after that, I got my license, and then was just kind of kicking around a little bit. I think Bloomington had a series then with a road race, and I think a road race and 2 crits. And so we'd go and do that, and would do the Proctor. It's fun. Once you got into it, you kind of shot through the categories. It also kind of got me into. I was racing track for a few years. And I think that definitely suited my body a lot better. So as a bigger guy, the track is a lot more forgiving. So I had a decent amount of success at the track. It scared the shit out of me. Like, it's like, I don't know why I did it. Like, going on this track with 20, 30 other people and no brakes. Like, I was petrified every time I had to race. No, not petrified. I had a deep-seated nervousness.
I probably healthier fear, right?
Right. And I remember we had a race in Kenosha on their track.
Yeah.
And we're doing I think I'm missing out. And first lap, this guy did a straight flyer. And another guy following him, like 3rd or 4th wheel off that. And the first guy goes around, this other guy go around the corner, and then like just go straight. Like he totally forgot to turn, whatever the case may be. And at Kenosha, they had the bank, and then they had this chain link fence on top of it.
Uh-huh.
And you see him go right into the fence, and I'm almost positive, like I remember seeing dust. And I'm guessing it's like his front tire just exploded when it made contact with the fence.
Yeah.
So that powder from the tube just kind of shot out. And I think for the rest of the race, at least, I was kind of freaked out. Like,
Yeah.
holy, how do you, how do you not miss it? It's like it's a track. Like, how do you not go in a circle?
Yeah.
But yeah, so the track was definitely my best, my strongest media, but it was also the one that I was most nervous about.
I've never been on the track. I'm scared. I love watching it. Like right now, I've been watching tons of track racing, but the whole idea scares me to death. Especially Kenosha's a cement track, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean that's a whole nother level of just. Yeah, I respect it, and I wish I would have done it when I was younger. I mean, at 40 years old, I'm just not going to do it. I mean, the time
Right.
has passed. Yeah. Yeah. So how did that get into cyclocross then?
Well, you know, it was because I was teaching at the time. I was in Chicago now, and I was meeting my department chair. So it must have been my first 5 years in Chicago. And as I'm leaving, there's just this sign for bike racing, and I had raced road. And it's like what, November.
Right.
And it's like, what race is happening in November? So I just followed the signs. It was just a fluke that I saw these signs, and it was the Cross Cup that
Oh,
is
yeah.
not, but it was just like they go all across the country. So just that massive series. So I just happened to show up. It's like, oh my God, this is the most amazing thing I've seen. And it was probably like that perfect indoctrination to it, that it was very much like a mountain bike atmosphere.
Yeah.
Where it's like people were drinking.
Yeah.
They had a warming tent, but a bike shop was sponsoring, so they had all this swag there. They were selling raffle tickets, so at the end of the race, they're like giving away hot chocolate, and you sit there and get a raffle, and you can get a frame or some handlebars or whatever the case may be. This cross, that the first time I went, it was like such an amazing experience. I've been chasing that for all these years. We didn't know remounting was a thing.
Right.
You see these other people doing it, but it's like, oh, maybe we should practice that.
Right.
And they're like these two little kids, and they might have been like 12, 13 years old.
Mm-hmm.
And like they both beat Mark. And I'm just like, I can't do a sport where like little kids can crush you. But you know, Mark still gets upset with that story. But even after the fact, he's like, that was fun.
Yeah.
And had a good time, and it was just like, this is amazing.
Yeah.
And it kind of blossomed from there. I did my first race the next year, right after Christmas party. Got home at like 3 a.m. Mark picked me up at like 5 a.m. to drive out to what is it? Not Joliet, Aurora, for a race they had, and it was horrible. I felt horrible, but the race was kind of fun. For my first one, it was not the best indoctrination, but it was a good time and enough to keep me going.
Yeah, that culture, I mean, that's the thing, is like you said, the culture is way different. And like you can do that in a cross race and kind of not show up and not be all there and still have a really good time.
There's some people who are just like crazy cool, and they'll help out and help you out. And that's where I found, I'm sure mountain biking is very much the same way, or at least my head. But the cross scene has been really, really, really good.
Yeah.
Like I could walk up to Tim Johnson, say, how you doing? He's like, I saw this. You should be doing this and doing that. So they're very approachable,
Yeah.
which I think made a big difference as well. And so, as we were saying earlier, like after that first lap or so, you're no longer in the peloton. So it's just single file, and then after 2 laps, nobody knows who's in the lead
Right.
or where you are. So all of a sudden, you kind of relax, like, I could be in the front, they don't know this, and I could be off the back, they don't know this. So you're just kind of in your own world, racing this race, and you're just like, whatever.
Yeah. Now I've thought about that a lot too. Is that, Matt used to tell me that cross. He's like, it's the perfect master sport, and I think that what he was talking about more is like the time that it's needed versus doing 100-mile road races. But I think there's also, like, for me, and I don't know, but I wonder if there's an age temperament that's changed too. Like, I think that when I was, early 20s, or probably all through my 20s, there was a lot more like personality of aggressiveness or a testosterone that was much more appropriate for the crit scene. And now that I've gotten older, it's like, yeah, I want to push myself, but also like, I'm just doing this for fun and to have a good time, and I'm going to shake everybody's hand at the end, and there's no point in getting mad at people. And that just
Right.
seems like it's more the cross scene in general. Is that
Right.
it's a lot more chill. And like you said, you can have a bad race and still, you crit, you get popped, you're done, right? You just spent $60
Right.
and drove for 3 hours and you're out the back in 2 minutes. I've had that happen. It's just like, well, that was a complete waste. Where
Right.
cross is a totally different thing. So you've been in and out for a long time then, like in
Yeah.
some form, like, so why do you think, this is the question I want to answer in this season, if possible, this is where I'm going. Why do you think, as people that are not doing this as their full-time job, we still spend a significant amount of time, significant amount of money, and we travel quite a bit.
Yeah.
So why do you think that there's such an allure or draw or yeah, why cross you?
And I think it's a number of factors. So for me, I have a full-time job. I'm a professional. I have a lot of responsibility. I have a house. I have a mortgage. I have a car. So I have all these external pressures and requirements and stressors.
Mhm.
And like anybody can go out and ride a bike, and just going out and ride a bike makes me feel better. But then every once in a while, I'm on a ride, and that's like nobody has passed me on this ride. Like I'm passing people, nobody's passing me. So then it's just like, so what am I capable of doing now? So I think for a long time it was just, here's something I'm not very good at, but I really enjoy doing it. So I'm just going to start doing these races, and then hang out and watch other people race afterwards, and then move on. Then after I broke my legs, so when I got doored, broke my leg, and I was off the bike for 3 years,
Yeah,
4 years, where I was just afraid to be back on the bike.
right.
And the only thing I really thought about with the bike was cross. Like I never have an interest. I still don't have an interest in ever doing another crit or
Yeah, me
another
too.
road race.
Yeah.
Just not there. And I wouldn't mind trying mountain biking, but the thing that got me going and got me through, especially the fixator and then there's 2 surgeries and all that stuff, was I'm gonna get a set of carbon rims for this cross bike. And like that was my motivating factor. And it got me to physical therapy. It got me working hard at physical therapy. It got me saying, when can I get on a bike? When can I get on the bike? And so after that, I was riding again. And then it got to the point where like, I need to now test myself and see where I am. So 3 years ago, I started racing again. And to horrible results. But I saw people that I hadn't seen for 5-6 years.
Yeah.
And it's like, hey, we remember you, and like, yeah, I remember you. And then it got to the point where like, I'm gonna start making some goals and try and do some things and maybe do some concerted training for this and so on and so forth. So it got to the point where I just wanted to see what I was capable of doing. Plus, there's a good way to spend a Sunday,
Yeah.
and then I can come back and get back to reality where I have to worry about schoolwork and grading and paying bills and making sure the wife is happy and the dog is fed. But it was a few hours of just like me and something I enjoyed doing.
Yeah.
And nobody was encroached on that. No one was ruining that for me. And it was just like my time. And so I felt I could justify this little bit of time out of my life, out of my week.
Yeah, and I think that, there's if you put in a little bit of effort, then the weekend becomes a lot more enjoyable too, right? With like the training
Yeah.
and stuff. Yeah, I remember you being like, I'm sticking with it, I'm sticking with it. And last year you had pretty good results, right? I mean, there's improvement, right?
Yeah, there was improvement, and it's the year before. So the second year back, I think all in all was a better one. I definitely did better than the first year back. And then this year, I went into it like I'm in really good shape. I feel pretty fit. Um, and then like the bottom fell out.
Yeah.
And at the first couple races, it was all. And again, I'm a big rider,
Right.
so where somebody like you can just like skirt through mud, I sink to the bottom. So to a degree, I get better traction because I'm literally hitting hard pack. But I'm now pushing 3-4 inches of mud
Right.
as well. So the first 3-4 races were horrible, just horrible. It was, and I remember my first race this year was, I think I was running almost 3/4 of the lap,
Yeah.
right? At least off the bicycle, and it's like this is not what I got in this sport for. And so I'd get up at I don't know 6, so I could drive out to this race, uh, go through my own kind of hell
Yeah.
for 45 minutes, and then kind of get back in the car and drive an hour and a half back home. Um, so I think after my fourth race, I'm just like, I'm done.
Yeah.
Just like, I'm not going anywhere. It's not even that enjoyable right now. And I talked to a friend who I've been racing with for since I came back, and he's like, "Well, what was your threshold training like this year? And how many intervals you get in?" I'm like, "You know what? I didn't do them. It's like I'm so busy with school and with this other stuff, and this one program I'm teaching that I literally forgot to do my threshold training and hit those intervals.
Yeah.
So, and you can't really quit when you never gave yourself a fair shot at doing anything.
Right.
So, and once he said that, and once it kind of sunk into my head, then all the pressure came off, and it didn't matter anymore. And I wasn't winning races. That's not even my goal.
Right.
So my goal this last season, was to finish mid pack. So like instead of ending up at the back half, I want to be in the middle to the front half,
Yeah.
which I think is a modest gain. And then I was like, there was the first 2 races, I was the last person. I finished last the first 2 races. And so after that, it was like, I'm just going to have fun.
Yeah.
And I started having fun, and my results got better. And I definitely wasn't crushing them. I definitely didn't hit my goals for this year, but it was a learned experience.
Yeah.
That was built through some degree of tenacity and pain. And I think I've mentioned to you before that as we got to the end of the season, I was really pretty comfortable with the officials. So I'd have my head like, okay, they're doing 6 laps. I'll probably get in maybe like 5. And then they're like, nope, do another lap. So I'm like, why are you guys doing this to me? But it got to the point where I think they were happy that somebody's out there and just not like pissy all the time.
Yeah. Yeah.
And again, I get competition and being competitive and taking things seriously, and I get it. And there's definitely times when I'm taking it seriously, and I'm out there, so I'm taking it seriously.
Yeah.
But I feel like the world's not going to end, or the world's not going to change if I take this more seriously or I take it less seriously. So I'm like, I'm going to be enjoyable.
Right.
So I talk to people. If people were like, stay in there, I'd give them a funny face, or I'd make a witty comment, or as much as my oxygen deprived brain come up with. But it was fun.
Yeah.
And that's the bottom line. Is like, it's something that anybody can do, and you can have fun at it if you're willing to have fun.
Yeah. No, I agree 100%. And this is where I don't even know. Like, I go through all these different things where, like, well, this is why I do this, and this is why I do this. And every time I ask somebody, they bring something up, and it's like, oh yeah, and that's also why I do it. But there's something. I mean, there's definitely something. You were talking about, you had races and getting up, and I know we've talked about this before, but like, for me, there's moments where like it sucks so bad that my mind is void of all other thoughts. And there's something good about that. You know what I mean? Like, and that's honestly what I almost search for a lot of weekends. You know, like okay, if nothing else, my mind will empty at some point, and I can not think about stuff. Yeah, I don't know. It's crazy. I was, you know, I've spent all this time inside. I was reminiscing that I have a lot of my good memories just through my life also are somehow associated with cycling. Whether that's friendships I've made through cycling or whether that's actual like road trips. And so I was trying to think back even like when I first met you and stuff, and I had to be in Peoria, right? But one of my first early recollections, and obviously I knew you before this, but was us taking the road trip to the state road race where you fed me and LaFont. And it's like stupid things like that it's like, you know, that was 20 years ago probably now, or nearly 20 years ago. And it's like, I remember those moments and a lot of them just are cycling related or meeting up, you know, at nationals every year and doing that sort of stuff. It's just, there's a lot of good memories that are around it with people that can kind of understand that you're just crazy, right? Like this doesn't make rational sense in any way.
But I also say, I do remember that road trip. And I remember driving there and going through the cornfields.
Yeah.
And we were in your truck and and you and LaFont definitely had a connection, a chemistry. But I was sitting there like, what if I got myself into? And I think you had like these figurines or something on your dashboard.
Yeah.
And then you and LaFont would do these like weird things with them and these voices and like your inside jokes. I'm like, I have no idea what's happening right now. But you know, all in all, it was a great experience. But like, to the point, the fact that I remember it to this day, speaks volumes. But it was fun, and it's interesting because I knew you from a shop setting,
right?
Like your job. I knew LaFont from his job, and then I see you guys like LaFont at least on rides here and there for Proctor. And then I saw your inner workings.
Yeah. And
I saw these two people who were like really good bike riders and good racers that were like mad goofy. And so it was like, for whatever that length that drive was, you guys were goofy.
Yeah.
And then we got there, and then you guys get kitted up, and then you get kind of your game face on, and then it's serious, and now it's action, now it's riding, and now it was some degree of instructions about bottles and so on and so forth, and where to meet up and so on and so forth. And then after that, I want to say they had like a barbecue or something going on. We had a couple burgers or whatever, and then you guys were at that goofy thing.
Yeah.
So it was, I don't know, it's hard as a person sometimes is kind of see the forest through the trees, and you think that you always have to be serious.
Yeah.
But I'm racing today, and you wake up serious, you drive serious, you kit serious, you race serious, you post-ride serious, you reflect on the hits and misses of it, but you're serious about it.
Right.
And then you go home serious, and then the next day you maybe lighten up. And I think that was kind of what I thought good bike riders did, and why I was never a good bike rider, because I never did any of that. And then seeing you and LaFont just like straight chilling for the vast majority of the time, and then like this small window, you're just like you're fighting now.
Yeah.
And then that is like, okay, fight's over. We're just like, what, 20-year-old kids again.
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly what it was, just a bunch of kids. And I mean, I think it's also, you said that, like, we probably never would have talked or encountered each other, but if it wasn't for cycling. And I think that's what I kind of love about it, is that it doesn't matter what people's politics are, it doesn't matter what their religion is there's a moment like we get each other, and then we'll figure out, okay, I gel with this person better than this person, but there's this underlying current of like, okay, like we have something in common, so at least I'm open to like talking to this person on a surface, right? And
right.
Yeah. It's funny, earlier you mentioned something about like getting better, and you were able to see that. I have very distinct memories of when I got into it, like when I came back and was working in the shop and started racing again. that it was the only sport that I could see progression. Like everyone, like you said, and with crits, there's such a learning curve, right? And like I was horrible, but it was like every time I went out and rode my bike, it was like I could make it a little bit farther. And like baseball, it didn't matter how many times I swung a bat, I never was going to hit that ball, you know? And so it was like, for me, that was like one of like the things that just grabbed me as far as maybe this is a sport for me.
But it's also interesting about cycling is that it's goofy.
Yeah.
Like incredibly gifted athletes.
Yeah. Yeah. That's one of the things I loved about it too, is it was such a counterculture sport too. Like even to explain it, like in college, like, you know, some girls like, what'd you do this weekend? It's like, well, I went and did this. And they're like, what? And there's like, actually, it's pretty cool. It was like the punk rock sport, right? I mean, it's just like, I don't know, like, yeah, there's not a lot of protocol as far as you had to look like this or you had to do this off the bike, right? It's like, once you got on the bike, that's where everything matters.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can still tell you, like, one of my best feelings ever, even right now, that if I just need to smile, if I'm especially at a crit, and like a big group goes by and you get that whir of the gears and then that breeze you kind of generate, like, it's almost like Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon, where you're just like in a rice field and the breeze comes up and everybody stops and just like takes it all in.
Yeah.
That's kind of the way I've always felt with this, is like, I could have a super shitty day, and if I just go to a bike race and I feel that and I hear that, it's okay with the world.
Oh man, for me that noise is like heroin. Like it's like I went to see a crit this summer, and I don't know when the last time. Probably the last time I did one, which is like in Chicago in 2011 or something. Matt and I were trying to figure this out. But watching the crit, I was there and I was just like, I want to get in there so bad. Like I didn't want to, but it was like this thing. It was like you're standing on the edge of a building and you're like, I don't want to jump, but I really do. Like it was that sort of feeling. Like, yeah, I know. There's something so exciting about it, right? It's like, yeah. I don't know, man. I just hope we race. I'm gonna plan on racing. That's all there's to it. We can't not race.
Yeah, and it's and again, I've been running, so if I'm running, that means I'm gonna take it another notch for me. So I want to progress. So I'll be very disappointed if we're not racing.
I think you'll be surprised how much the running's gonna pay off. Like I'm standing by this. Is that I think that you will like be really, really surprised. I mean, to the point where I'm gonna run because you're motivating me to run.
Oh, excellent.
So it's yeah, I wish I would have done it more. But
well, you still have time, and I still have your program that you gave me last year for the whole building up and ramping up. So I'm gonna put that into action as well, and just plan for a season.
Yeah.
And I think worst case scenario, there might be like those DFL races in San Fran, where it's just like, hey, we're meeting at this place at this time, and then just like mass start and just kind of race your bike for the sake of racing your bike.
I like Alley Cat, sort of cross Alley Cat.
Right.
I would be down with that. I mean, my big thing is it's all going to depend on whether stuff's safe or not. I mean, if everything's safe, we can do all kinds of cool stuff, I think.
Right.
Yeah. I don't know. Yeah, I just worry. If it's safe. If it's safe, it's like, there's all sorts of ways we could do it. Yeah, and I think I could do that for a year. Like, I can even survive on that for a year. Hey, one thing I did want to ask you, actually I just thought about this. You mentioned something earlier. I didn't realize when you broke your leg, it was 3 years. It took 3 years to recover?
It took probably about a solid year. An external fixture on. I had an external fixture on for almost a month. Second surgery, put the plate and screws in. Probably a month and a half or so after that second surgery that I could really get on my bicycle again and just turn the pedals over and get a decent range of motion. And when I noticed, like, I tried to ride to school and I was riding one direction and a car in the opposite direction, like in front of me, like did some weird move, and I panicked. And so physically I was good. Mentally I was not.
Oh, okay.
Overthinking stuff, and I wouldn't ride unless I had somebody to ride with, because I was afraid to go out by myself just in case I got hit again and then like stuck in the middle of nowhere. So I had all these limitations I had put on myself, and then it got to the point where I just stopped riding completely, and I wasn't motivating myself, and there was nobody really who was like
Right.
kick me in the ass to get me motivated. And then it got to the point where I went to the doctor for my annual checkup, and they're like, "Yeah, you're pre-diabetic." Well, you should have said that at the very beginning of this, because that's all I need to hear.
Right.
So the next day I was back out on the bicycle. I was like, I'm not gonna start just running or doing the other thing to lose weight, but do the bicycle. And so that was a motivating factor, just do it. So I then started riding for a while, and I got comfortable enough to go ride by myself. And mostly it was on the lakefront, so it's definitely secure once you got there.
Right.
And then I started heading up north, so I was like on these roads the whole time, and I got more and more comfortable with it. So I'm now pretty comfortable riding by myself. And then after that is when it's like I'm gonna start racing again. So it was a really long process, but most of the process was me just kind of getting past the mental block.
The mental block. Okay. Yeah, because I'm the reason I ask is because I'm surprised at how much longer the recovery is taking me, but it is more physical. But there is an underlying thing of like, I'm not ready to be in a pack at all, and not be. It is just a little bit of a fear of being bumped. You know what I mean? It's a little bit of
I think the situation you're in now too, because as we get older, we just heal slower.
Right.
And I think you just kind of hit that perfect storm where you're getting older, you're now injured when you normally would just bounce back and be good to go. Now it's like, holy still causing me pain and still problems, which is now to be sitting in your head to the point where if I fall again, this may be this and that, and I deal with that too, man, for a long time.
All right, cool, man. Thanks a lot.
Yeah, of course.